accept that. Okay, so I'm just going to do a practical thing before we start, because I see that Jackie, we need to have our superstar here in the picture. Welcome everyone to this webinar tonight about everything around hormones. And we have the best one to tell us everything about that with us today. Jackie. Jackie is an acupuncturist. She has her own clinic and she helps women in different stages of life to navigate hormones and what's happening in the bodies. And she is really passionate about this subject that you will hear in a little while. So she's going to take us or at least inform us about everything we need to know. And as we just talked about, this is for the women, but also so we can share with our daughters, with our friends, and our men, so they can understand us a bit better too, I think. Jackie, please give us a little bit more information about what you do and take us away in the world of hormones.
On the world of hormones. Yes, let me see if I can. Oh, it's saying I can't share my screen.
Oh, and I need to fix that. Let me just see if I can do that quick.
So while we're working out the share my screen, the whole reason I've put this presentation together, it's not to deep dive into super technical stuff. Oh, do you need to record?
I've done the recording.
Yeah. The reason I've done this is so that it's quite simple. It means that we can talk to people who may know a bit more, so people in the medical world, but it also means we can talk to people who don't really know anything about cycles, which I actually think is quite a sad thing that we're not being taught this as deeply as we should be being taught it. One part, multiple, shall I tick that? Let's see if I can tick something. There you go, I've done it.
Good.
There you go. See, I don't know if any of you remember this, but I used to be rubbish at this technical stuff. And look, I just did that. Yes. Okay, so this is going to be the impact of nutrition on women's health and hormones. My background is a sports science degree. I'm also a licensed acupuncturist, a member of the British Acupuncture Council. I've worked with female health and hormones for basically 35 years, which scares me a little bit, but I have. So there we go, 34 years in the industry. BSc honours in science. We can all read this. I'm just trying to minimize this because I don't want to see just me. There we go. So with women's health, what I want to make sure everyone understands, I think before I move on to the first slide, is that the Zanzino product, or one thing in particular, is not going to fix this. What I'm trying to say to you all is every single condition I'm going to speak about tonight can be helped with either the Zanzino products or with a bit more sleep or with many of our different tools. But there's no, if anybody's expecting, like Western medicine, sometimes they have, right, if you are struggling with getting pregnant, you need Clomid. It's not like that. For almost every single syndrome, you need your foundational health in place. And this is what I'm going to discuss, the foundational health, to make sure. There was a brilliant podcast, which I'll try and get out to everybody. And it's everything myself and my daughter say in our clinic to people about what you need to do to prepare your body for pregnancy, basically. Fantastic podcast. But it's quite scary, some of the statistics that were on it about our health. One of them being, where did I put that? Basically, there we go. The Chinese, sorry, not the Chinese, the Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 90% of pregnant women are not getting the nutrients we need from food alone. If that doesn't tell you how much we need to use supplementation, I don't know what does. So supporting women's health naturally, we need to maintain a balanced diet. We need to make sure we're eating good foods. What I want to say is, I'm going to leave the slide here for a bit, but I'm not going to read it, but please take pictures or do what you need to do with it. we need to, when someone says they have a healthy diet, please can you ask them what their diet is? Because sometimes when people say they have a healthy diet, they say they have a croissant for breakfast or a crumpet, or I fast and then I eat this. That's not healthy, because for females and for our hormones, for males as well, you need protein and fat as your first meal of the day. So breakfast should really be earlier in the morning, but it doesn't have to be. You're breaking the fast, you can have the meal whenever you want. But you need a balanced diet and you need to get as much nutrients in that as possible. Essential nutrients for female health are vitamin D and omega-3, but you've also got in pregnancy, you need choline. There are different nutrients all of us need, and we need to make sure we're getting a good rounded amount of them. Regular exercise. This is vital as well for all hormonal health. Stress management. I had someone actually I was speaking to who's in pain, and I said, well, how do you relax? Well, I don't relax. What, at all? So if we're expecting our bodies to work properly, I don't mean going to sleep at night, because even then you can be stressed. But if you're not actively putting yourself into a relaxation, that's going to cause all sorts of problems in your body, and tension and stress and inflammation. So stress management and relaxing is actually huge. Adequate sleep is huge. There is now talk that where they used to say 7 to 9 hours, women actually need nearer 8-9 hours, and the 7 hours is more about men. Acupuncture, of course, I'm always going to say have acupuncture. Masses of research and anecdotal evidence and 2,000 years of experience in acupuncture, reflexology, and everybody. Massage is going to help anybody, as long as you enjoy it. If you hate it, it's not. Epsom salt baths are great. There are different timings for that. I can't quite remember them off the top of my head, but there's like timings for detox and timings for relaxation, and then add in a bit of lavender. But again, I would actually speak to somebody who specializes in what they called essential oils, to make sure you're doing the right things. And then staying well hydrated. And some people need more electrolytes, and some people are actually fine. But you know, when you're drinking water, you need to make sure you've got the salts there as well. So that's basic. So for every woman who's going through anything hormonal, that's basic knowledge. Then we have, if we're going to be very specific and deep dive, and of course I'm going to talk about these things because I know they're vital. Omega-3 fatty acids. They can alleviate pain. They can help with endometriosis. Omega-3 helps, you know, if you're going into a pregnancy, male and female should be on high level omega-3s to make sure they're going to be able to help the central nervous system. They're going to help the brain development, the brain stem. They're going to help the DHA cross-cell placenta. The head of the sperm is made of DHA. So you need to make sure the acrosome, not made completely, but it's made up of it. The sperm needs to get through the egg. So this isn't, omega-3 isn't a supplement. It's a vital nutrient in supplement form, because we cannot get this in the amounts we need in fish or in our daily diet. We just can't get it. We can't make it. We can't store it. We have to ingest it. And we're just not getting enough good quality. You can't eat enough wild line caught fatty fish, unfortunately, and there isn't enough. So we're going to have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Supplement. But good supplementation. You want to make sure when that omega-3 gets in, it's getting to your cells. You don't want it stuck hanging around. You want it to get to the cells. Gorilla, I think someone might be in the waiting room. I could be wrong. There we go. It's just shown up on my screen. Okay, vitamin D can get from sunlight and some foods. This is crucial for hormonal health, bone health, and immune function. You know, if you've got things like autoimmune conditions that are actually affecting, like thyroid, you know, when you get the traditional thyroid results, I mean, I personally always refer to my daughter, or I refer to Marta, who deep dive into thyroid results. And you can find that things are slightly high, slightly low, actually causing autoimmune issues that need help, that need something. I'm not saying vitamin D is the only thing, or omega-3. They might need the help of some medicine. They might need the help of some thyroxine. But these are things to look at for all of it. And just looking at the intricacies of a female health. Dietary fibers, vital for polycystic ovary syndrome, polycystic ovaries, to help with that insulin resistance. I think what we need to remember is you need your omega-3s. You need your prebiotics, however you're going to get them, and you need a multi-immune food supplement. If you heard that statistic I gave you, about 90% of pregnant women are not getting the nutrients they need from food alone, then we're going to have to supplement if we want to make sure our future generations are getting the nutrients they need whilst they're in mum's belly. Okay, so collectively, these nutrients form a foundation for women's well-being, promoting hormonal balance, immune support, and overall vitality across the spectrum of women's health conditions. Integrating these essential nutrients into a balanced diet can empower women to proactively manage and support their health naturally. I read that out loud because some people listen to this rather than watch it. Omega-3 and 6. Healthy fats are essential for hormonal balance, production and maintenance of correct hormone function. These are vital. Omega-3 fatty acids counteract the inflammatory effects of omega-6. Omega-6 drives inflammation and needs to be balanced with omega-3. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory and modulate hormone sensitivity. This is critical for follicular release and egg quality. I'm not just going to go on about pregnancy, by the way. I'm going to talk about all the other things. Linoleic acid and alpha-linoleic acid are essential for every living cell in the body. Your cell membranes, every cell in your body needs omega-3. You need a really lovely fluid membrane. You need nutrients coming in. You need toxins going out. You need these juicy cells to keep these bodies gorgeous and make sure we're as healthy as we can possibly be. We are fighting a world where we haven't got nutrient-dense food anymore, but we have calorie-dense food. We need to make sure we give as much information advice out there to people so they understand why this is an issue. You know, why looking around the supermarkets, you look and the food's just not good enough. There is not the nutrients in there for us. Omega-6 is not bad, we need it, but it does need to be balanced with omega-3. Pain can be caused by inflammation, and improving your omega-6 balance and your omega-3 index will reduce inflammation, improve hormonal health. You know, I would, in my clinic now, if anybody's coming in with hormonal issues, they will get a test to find out their omega-6 balance and their omega-3 index. And if they haven't already had a vitamin D test, I will insist on a vitamin D test as well, because both of those are important.
Jackie, could you please just make me co-host? I'll help with the waiting
parents.
room. I needed to make you host, so I just need to get the co-host.
Okay, which is quite funny because, okay, let's go. How do I, oh, I have to go there, don't I?
Yeah, to the waiting room and then just click my.
No, I don't know how to do that.
If you go to down and click the participants.
Oh, it's at the top. Got it. It's at the top. Participant.
Oh, at the top. Yeah, sorry. But then I can help you with the waiting room.
Oh no, just says participants.
Yeah, and if you click that one.
Ah, see, I was all flash about having lots of technology.
I'm sorry I had to disturb you, but if you click the dots and make me co-host.
How did I become full host?
I did it. That was my.
So you've caused this incompetence in me.
I did. Take full responsibility. You could continue. Thank you.
We're just human. Okay, I've done a massive presentation on this, but I'll briefly go through endometriosis for everybody so you know when you're talking to people. The endometriosis is a condition where tissue similar to the lining of the uterus, called the endometrium, grows outside the uterus. What you find is this tissue attaches to different parts of the body where it really shouldn't be, and it can go in the lungs. So if you get breathless around your period time, you could be suffering from endometrium that's disappeared into there. Endometriosis can happen at a cellular level. The implant attaches to the cell wall. Back to, we want strong cell walls. We want to make sure nutrients can get in and toxins can get out. When you're chatting to someone with endometriosis, everything I said above is everything they need. You know, you want to make sure the body is healthy. You want to make sure the body is strong. You want to make sure the body is fed and has nutrition in. The reason I haven't got individual on each of these slides is because the basic pillars of foundational health and nutrition are the same for every single one of these. There's just tweaks. And if you find you've added all of this in and you've added a couple of extra bits and it's not really working, this is time to find someone like Marta. This is time to find a functional medicine doctor or a nutritionist who's qualified as Marta is, and say, please, I need extra tests. I need help. I will mention those a bit later on as well. But I believe we can do an awful lot with just getting these foundational pillars in. So additional ways that myself and my daughter will recommend are castor oil packs for inflammation. Now, these are packs you pop on your belly. So you start with about an hour and then you work up. Again, I have got a link somewhere for those. But they are wonderful for reducing inflammation, not just of endometriosis, of any kind of abdominal pain. And you can put it in different parts of the body as well. We do have massive issues with environmental toxins. Endocrine disrupting chemicals found in plastics and pesticides. They are causing a lot of problems. A simple fix for can be just opening the windows in your house. We're moving into spring, try and get the windows open so we try and move some of these chemicals around, because yeah, it's not great, but we're going to sort it. It's not great. We're going to make people so, we're going to make sure people are getting antioxidants in so they can really heal their bodies. What we really want to do is make sure the body needs to be in a place of abundance and vitality. High nutritional statuses are needed. We used to have this. We used to have this without even worrying about it. You know, 150 years ago, this wasn't a thing. We may have had other problems, but that wasn't a thing. Our toilet systems and etc. weren't great. Okay, so you can look at the bigger recording for a detailed version of this. And then we've got adenomyosis. So this way you've got where the endometrium begins to grow into the muscular walls of the uterus, which can result in an enlarged uterus. Something really interesting is it kind of enlarges the whole of the uterus. It's not like part of it kind of swells. It seems to be the whole of it. So adenomyosis can coexist with other conditions like endometriosis. They still don't really know what the cause is of this. There's no real, the scientists haven't really landed on what's the cause. So don't get caught up with the cause. Just know inflammation makes it worse. Reduce inflammation. Bad nutrition makes it worse. Increase good nutrition. I would also recommend acupuncture for these two things. I think they're vital for these things because I think it really helps. And any other, any other modalities that can help you. So for adenomyosis, you are looking for magnesium-rich foods or a magnesium supplement, again, your choice, and castor oil packs for inflammation. So I will move on from that one, but these are two that we get asked about an awful lot. But just remember the oil will reduce inflammation. The biotic will help with the way the gut modulates hormones. And it will help, and then you've got your immune supplement to help boost all the nutritional density. Okay, polycystic ovary syndrome is slightly harder because although it's a hormonal disorder, it's really driven because of insulin resistance. So it's almost more in the diabetic realm, but it is a gynae issue because of where it lands. So when you're looking at polycystic ovary syndrome, people can have polycystic ovary syndrome, people can have polycystic ovaries, and they don't always have both. So that's important to remember, because sometimes you'll look at someone and you think, oh, they haven't got all the symptoms, which can be the excessive hair, oily skin. And when you're looking at all these, you should be thinking, why is the testosterone up? What's going on in the body? What's happening with it? So in women with polycystic ovaries or polycystic ovary syndrome, their bodies are usually malnourished of essential nutrients, leading to hormonal disruption and raised testosterone. The aim is to get the hormones back in balance. We should always start with nutrition. Both conditions are insulin-resistant conditions. They are not really gynae issues. You need to address insulin resistance and inflammation. The biotic helps with glucose regulation, and then you've got the oil. Other good ways to support this are a good diet full of vegetables and protein. I've already said that. Inositol. Inositol is a supplement that's very good for this. You will often get given metformin, and again, up to you which way you want to go with that. But some women say inositol works better for them than metformin ever did. You will need to get medical advice for that. Drink plenty of water, and exercise is essential for this. Get that body moving. absolutely, when anyone comes to you with these, get them exercising and get those happy hormones moving. Okay, so we have amenorrhea. Amenorrhea refers to the absence of menstrual periods. Now, this can be that they've never started, or this can be that you've had them and then they've stopped. And there are various reasons for this: nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalance, stress, excessive exercise, and certain medical conditions. In my line of work, we're really trying to get to the bottom of why that's happening. And there could be many reasons. I mean, unfortunately, eating disorders can cause these, can cause this. People who, long distance runners, if you're too thin, we're not meant to be teeny tiny, unless you're genetically that way. We're not meant to be super skinny. I remember someone years ago told me we're not meant to have abs. Not really, because we're meant to have that layer of fat because it's good for us. So with that, when I'm treating somebody, I am starting with, okay, we really need to see what's happening with the diet. How are you being fed? Are you having vitamin A and K rich foods? Have you got enough iron and vitamin C? Is there enough magnesium? Do you need supplementing? Both amenorrhea and menorrhea. So menorrhea is when you're bleeding really heavily. Now, personally, I've suffered from that, and I know many people do suffer from it. And then you're given iron tablets from the doctors, which, if you get on with them, great. I didn't like them. I used something called Floridix at the time, but I also, eating red meat helps. I don't really like eating organ meat because it's not my personal choice, but I will take an organ meat supplement to make sure I'm getting the nutrients I need from that. Again, back to hormonal imbalance, uterine abnormalities, certain medical conditions. There's no one size fits all for any woman. There's no one size fits all for any condition that I think that is hormonal, because every woman is different. I could see 20 endometriosis patients, and they're going to have different stories and different symptoms and different levels. So you need to think about that, but also understand that the fundamental pillars are the same. They need those in place. We need to get the building blocks. We need the foundations. We need to build up from that to make sure women are getting everything they need. So we need to spread that word. Okay, this is very wordy, this one, and I'm really sorry, but PMS is a combination of physical, emotional, and psychological symptoms. These can occur in the weeks. Now, we're all going to know women, some women who have nothing, some women who have 2 weeks worth, some women who only have 1 good week. I know for a fact that omega-3 deficiency can cause these problems. And I'm hopefully I'll say it later as well, but there's actually a lot of evidence to show that postnatal depression can happen because of a severe omega-3 deficiency. Now, there is some research about that as well. So again, the exact cause of each woman's PMS is not fully understood. Is it the, well, it is the hormonal fluctuations, but is it estrogen? Is it progesterone? What's going on in that woman's body? Are they stressed when they should be relaxing? We have no idea. The only thing we can do is advise them how best to look after their body as they go through their cycle and what nutrients to put into their body to help them. And because, again, the way we live now, and a lot of women suffering with these, and by the way, periods should not be painful. That's an absolute fallacy that has become normalized or usual. It shouldn't be. Periods shouldn't be painful. Periods shouldn't be clotty. When the period comes, it should just be red blood, and that should be it. And then you finish. It might start with a trickle. It might start, but it should be nice, gorgeous red blood. The severity and combination of symptoms varies from woman to woman. Now, something people don't talk about as much is PMDD. This is actually really serious and not funny, but my friend always talks about when her mum tried to stab her, and she really did. And it was because of the hormones from here, because of how bad PMDD can make women feel. So the difference with PMDD to PMS is it's much more psychological. It brings much more severe mood swings. I mean, intense feelings of anger, tension, anxiety, low energy. The list goes on. But an interesting fact that I found in 2017 study at the National Institute of Health, led by Peter Schmidt, found that protein expression of 4 key genes is decreased in the cells in women with PMDD, making them more sensitive to environmental stressors in the luteal stage. Interesting to me, because I'm thinking, okay, so if we can make sure their oxidative stress and they have antioxidants in their body, their nutrition levels are great, they're not got toxins in their body at this time of the month, I think we'd have a significant impact on this. But we're not going to change those genes. From the study, you know, you're born with that, but we might be able to affect epigenetics and when the genes turn on. So I think this is actually going to be an incredible tool to say to anyone with PMDD, actually, let's put this in and then let's see what else we can add in to really help you with this. But that's quite serious. And that means, are they going to get better? Who knows? But can we improve their symptoms? I think we can. But both of those symptoms need to be taken conditions need to be taken very seriously. We joke about all these things. You hear people go, no, she's on her period. Oh, don't go near mum today. Oh, she's off again. It's not funny. Our hormones are like this. You know, every day, our hormones are different. Men just get this kind of testosterone release. We get this craziness going on. And it would be nice to be more in control of that. And it would be nice to understand how we do that. And you can deep dive into this and I can direct you at some point if you need me to. Okay, fertility. I'm actually going to read some stuff that I was listening to earlier. The World Health Organization has declared there is a fertility crisis. 17.5% of the adult population are experiencing infertility. Fertility has dropped 50% in the last 50 years. 1 in 7 couples will now be dealing with infertility. Women in their 20s are now less fertile than their grandmas were when their grandmas were in their 30s, so 35. That's what a massive impact. The big things that I've listened to, that every single specialist, consultant, doctor, functional doctor, every podcast I'm listening to are there saying high omega-3 levels for fertility, get the vitamin D in, get the forever chemicals reduced in your life, stop putting chemicals on your body, stop eating chemicals, get rid of highly processed foods, make your body as least toxic as you possibly can. Because actually male fertility's dropped by about 60% now. There is talk of by 2050, men being infertile, which I think is actually quite serious, and I think we should listen to this. There's a methylation problem. This is not my specialist subject, Marta's the one for this, but basically how we methylate hormones, how we absorb certain nutrients. Now, I know people are given folic acid. Well, folic acid's not great for half of the people because you can't absorb it, so you need methylfolate. So check packets, make sure it's methylfolate. And if you're wanting to be pregnant or pregnant, you need a higher dose of these. And there is a particular brand of methylfolate that is myself and Marta recommend that we really like, but there's different ones you can get. But check it's methyl. And then B12 can't always be absorbed properly. Each one of us is so individual that we just have to really do a deep dive and take ownership of our own hormonal health. You can't rely on other people. You have to look at your own health and go, okay, so I've put these things in place and it's still not right. I need to go and investigate this. I might need to go and get the Dutch test to find out what's going on. I might need to do this, but invest in that. I promise you, if you get to perimenopause and you haven't got your hormones under control, you're going to regret it. Because fail to prepare, prepare to fail. I really thought I had it nailed. I was like, well, I know what I'm doing. I've been an acupuncturist for this long. I've been in health and fitness for this long. I know what I'm doing. No, because I had endometriosis and because I didn't know what I know now, which I'm gutted about, but we are talking, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. I wasn't as prepared when I went into it. And I had an awful time the year or so before my medical menopause. The endometriosis was just so painful. Bleeding was awful. And then when I had my laparoscopy, and they were like, oh, okay, your ovaries encased in endo, your fallopian tube is, they ripped that out. They left me one though, and the importance of that is your ovaries can continue to secrete a tiny piece of estrogen. That's the word, estrogen. So there's something called ovarian preservation now being talked about, because it used to be when you had a hysterectomy, they went, whip it all out. But they're now starting to go, oh, hang on a minute. Actually, ovarian preservation might be a good thing. So I would absolutely look at these things, not just for fertility, for preparation for when you're going through and when you're thinking, okay, how do I want to hit my menopause and perimenopause? What do I want that to look like? I went like a crash into it. And then I did a deep dive, and I have done a deep dive for 8 years about it and how to best look after myself. And then I will share my information, but that doesn't mean it's right for everybody. So other ways to support are methylfolate, castor oil packs, magnesium, bone broth is great, progesterone. This is some people dependent, but please see someone before you go out buying any of this. Progesterone, like my daughter will sometimes offer, like recommend a natural progesterone within a cycle. You may be going through a gynae or a doctor or something who will recommend it. So some people need that. CoQ10 is very important in fertility. So there's another one. And I would again suggest looking at how much you actually need. This is a very general presentation. I just want to keep saying that. It's very difficult to deep dive into each of these on a general presentation. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that foundationally you can help all of them. So pregnancy, transformative, crucial part in a woman's life. It is so vital to have these nutrients on board. Like I said, when you look that 90% of pregnant women are not getting the nutrients that they need from food alone. Our poor babies, what's going on? I mean, I look at mine and think, oh, did I do enough? Have I caused them some problem-ish? We will always feel guilty about this, and we shouldn't, because we only know what we know. But if we know the information moving forward, we should do the best we can to make sure we're putting into our bodies what feeds theirs, what creates them. And that's for men as well, because their sperm, half the DNA comes from men. So men and women are equally responsible. There's lots of research going into this. You'll see over the next few years, lots and lots coming out. In pregnancy, you want the DHA for the mum's brain, because baby takes it from mum, but it can't get across the placenta without EPA. So in fact, I'm hoping Amelie deep dives into this more on the 11th of April as well, which will be really exciting to see. So the brainstem, which is formed because of the, with the DHA, omega-3 is vital in the brain development of the fetus and baby. So I need everybody to remember just that alone. That is why it's so important. It's been talked about in the pregnancy world forever. I mean, you've got millions of supplements out there, but you need to make sure they're natural. You need to make sure your body can absorb them. You need to make sure they've got the right amounts. You need to make sure actually they're getting to the cells. So be picky with what you choose and get advice. Find someone who will absolutely help you. Don't just blindly. I did do a post the other day, because people getting a supplement off the back of a bus. I mean, with 35 years experience, I can say to people, I absolutely think this, this, and this, and they'll go, I'm not sure about that, because I can't say the brand, because this particular brand is advertised on the back of a bus, so I believe that. And people do, but that particular brand has quite a lot of chemicals in it and really shouldn't be actually advertised. Oh, I'm going to stop talking about it before I get myself in trouble. Right, I'm going to move on to the next one. So vital infertility and pregnancy, perimenopause. So as you're declining in your reproductive hormones and everything's going a bit crazy, and then you're thinking you're going mad because your hormones are depleting and you're tired and you're anxious and you just don't really feel you anymore. And then the hot flushes, I had terrible hot flushes, really bad. Omega-3, basically 14 of the menopause menopausal symptoms are caused by inflammation. So when you're going into the perimenopause, you absolutely want to make sure all your nutrients are met and you're in a really good place. Part of this as well is resting. Part of this as well is sleep. I know I'm going on, well, the call's about supplementation, so I'm obviously banging on about it a bit more than I always would. But you've got to remember everything. Not one thing fixes this, everything together. But I would really, really urge you to get advice and ask professionals for help. People who are working in this day in, day out. So the menopause, obviously, the menopause is one day. So you've got perimenopause, and then you get to lavish in the menopause for one day. That one day is 12 months since your last period, and then you're postmenopause. So have a celebration, because there's only one day to do it. There are some poor women that get to 14 months and then they have a period again, and they're like, oh, here we go. So after that, you're classed as postmenopause, perimenopause. Perimenopause can be 10 to 15 years. Postmenopause can be 10 years, can be further. So your body's trying to settle into this new way of being. I can categorically say, once you get all your ducks in a row, once you work everything out and you work out what works for you, actually menopause is all right and you don't have periods. So it's not all bad. It's quite good. I think I feel at the best I've felt in my life. And also you have, they say estrogen is the hormone of accommodation, and your estrogen drops. So you just don't care as much. So which is why you see women in their 50s and 60s and they're like, whatever. You just don't care as much. And I believe it's that estrogen drop. Okay, let's have a look at, for me, this is a massive part of my solution in my treatment room, because I have recommended a multivitamin, a omega-3, a vitamin D, and a gut health for my entire career. This is the first time I personally have come across something which I truly trust and believe in and have had in my clinic. And I love testing people and retesting. I love finding out, and I love the science, and I love pharmaconutrition. These are very clever supplements. They are basically food put into supplement form. This is not chemicals. This is not synthetics. This is very clever supplementation. Trust the people that are telling you about it. Some testimonials. I started to use the balance oil and xenobiotic powder a month ago due to struggled with terrible PMS and acne for 5 years. I personally, my son, his acne was completely, he had cystic acne, completely went with the full health protocol. And because I knew what I knew, he had been on an omega-3 and a gut health thing for, I don't know, his whole life. And yet it still happened. So even I had to learn a really tough lesson about making sure you find the right supplements and the quality supplements, and look at the rest of his life. He is nearly 19. He started taking these at 15. He will not go a day without it. He's petrified that acne will come back. That's how good it was for him. And then at 15, I mean, getting 15-year-olds to do anything, really. So for me, I have a personal thing about that. I didn't have PMS when I was introduced to this, but this lady did. They felt more rational. There was a big goal of the Zanzino journey. Period cramps are less prominent. Arachidonic acid, if it's raised, which is one of the omega-6s, can cause the periods to be more painful because it causes inflammation. There was a study in Turkey, inflammation in the uterine lining. So there's another reason to bring down the omega-6s, keep up the omega-3s, keep balance. It's all about balance. It's all about making sure that cellular health is good. And then there's an HRT one. Someone had brain fog, feeling tired, itchy skin. From a traditional East Asian medicine point of view, the itchy skin is all about the heat and the body, and you've got the hypothalamus. You've got so many different aspects working. Our bodies are so complex, but it's quite simple to help them. Give the body the nutrients it needs so it can work. You don't put diesel in a petrol car. So give the car petrol and it will work properly. Give your body what it needs to function and it will work properly. That person was waking up. They are still, I have found with women on HRT, they tend to drop their HRT a little bit because their cells start working properly. Because I think what you find is if you don't adjust the rest of your lifestyle, you keep upping the HRT, but actually if you fixed your cellular health, the HRT gets in better, so you don't need as much. And then you can kind of work with it and see what works best for you. But I do find that we can't, HRT is the plaster at the end. There's masses of lifestyle stuff you can do, then add on that plaster. And that's the results I work with, because you think, well, get everything else right. And if there's still something missing, what do you actually need? Oh, they came off HRT totally. And then you have a hot sweat occasionally. You will have lots of conversations with people saying about, well, what about osteoporosis? What about if you need the estrogen? And then you'll have lots of people say, but what about these women that can't have hormones because of hormonal cancers? So one of my closest friends cannot, and she went to a consultant and was like, is there anything I can take? Because she used to take things like ashwagandha, and I can't think of the other one that women have a lot of, some of these ones, but the gynae, who is a very open-minded gynecologist and embraced her chemo and cancer journey, turned around and went, there is nothing that I will advise you other than omega-3. I mean, obviously I was like, I have been saying. So she came to me and went, okay, omega-3, I'm on it. But that's the importance of it. The medical profession recognizes too, this is not just people banging on about it. This is not just alternative health professionals banging on about it. We know omega-3 is vital for your nutritional health. Okay, so we work with holistic care. Holistic care is the care of the whole person, not a specific remedy or therapy. It's about looking at the whole person in front of you. You are going to get women, especially if they're hormonal, who are upset, and we need to hold them. We need to look after them. We need to understand them. And then we need to realize that we can help as much as we can help. And you absolutely, please reach out for other help if you're blocked. Don't just guess. Don't just think you can do it. You know, there are many times, and I'll probably be asked a question after this. And there are many times where I'll just go, I don't know, but I know a specialist that does know. I don't know, but I'll go and get you the answer. Because we have to be careful with women's health, and we have to work alongside Western medicine. We don't want people thinking we're banding around going, stop everything and go on this. What we do is, let's add this in before we subtract anything, and then let's see where we can work with what you're doing and what you're on. Some medication is counterproductive, unfortunately, but that's for a whole different call. And that would probably grab Mr. Clayton for that. Mr. Clayton? Dr. Clayton. Okay, other supplements and suggestions. Folic acid, methylfolate, CoQ10 is always great, a good quality multivitamin, red meat for blood loss, bone broth, and then the Dutch test. The Dutch test is a great test. I don't do them. I know Marta does, and there's probably other people on this call that are involved in the Dutch test, which test your hormone using your urine. That is a really good test for your hormones, not just your sex hormones. This is good for your adrenaline, your cortisol, thyroid, because thyroid issues are massive. You know, they can cause massive problems. You've got Graves, you've got Hashimoto's, you've got hyper. It's huge. And the doctors sometimes give you you're fine. And actually, if you look closely, you're not. So they're always worth, if you're worried or if you think, that doesn't seem right, get a second opinion on your thyroid. Or speak to other health professionals that understand and know about thyroid. And there's some great books out there about it as well. There's a particular one Martha always recommends. Martha? Who's Martha? Marta. I'm just making names up tonight. Okay, so I will go back to Zinzino because we are talking about Zinzino. I can guarantee Zinzino is committed to providing a holistic approach to women's health and through its products, but through its overall support. Not just its products. It wants to support you. There's masses of information there. You can jump on calls with people. You can be really looked after. So
get into the meeting because I was waiting for ages and then it was on while I was sitting there.
Somebody's in the background. It isn't just about, Zinzino is not just about the products. They are about looking after people. So please deep dive into the blogs, the meetings of the minds, all the recordings that are out there. There's a lot of information and they want to help. And they're hoping that their supplements or their products will help you too. The balance oil is provided to, is crafted to deliver high quality omega-3, specifically EPA and DHA. Their products are designed to provide comprehensive support for women's health, addressing specific needs. So basically, there is a really great system in place to help everybody and help us. Oh, that's just me and Beth. I'll leave that there for a second. And I didn't put my Zanzino live with Amali Jizlovic. I can't tell you how many times I had to practice that to get that right. Amali Jizlovic. So Amali's coming to Liverpool. She is covering the importance of maintaining hormonal balance through lifestyle and nutrition, with an emphasis on the significance of omega-3 and fatty acids. She will deep dive more into the science. She will have, I'm sure, countless graphs, and she will have all her knowledge from being a product researcher and her PhD and all her other information and knowledge and research that she does. She's incredible. On top of that, we have a panel of 5 health professionals. So, me. We have Amanda Redford, who is incredible. She's also an acupuncturist. She's a research midwife. She works with fertility, masses of knowledge too. We have Marta Holman, who had her own fertility journey and also is a nutritionist, but her knowledge is off the scale. And then we have my daughter, Beth, who I figured we should have someone younger there so that young women would turn up as well. I want young women to get this knowledge. I want it to be out there so we can make sure we spread this down. We tell our daughters. We don't want our daughters having to suffer what we've suffered. It's just not okay. So she's there. She's an advanced fertility acupuncturist. She's done higher level qualifications than even me and reading blood tests. And she deep dives in fertility now, and I deep dive in perimenopause and menopause. But essentially, we are looking after people from, oh my goodness, we want to look after people, women, from menstruation to end of life. So that's where we're at. And that's why I'm bubbling with all this knowledge and saying, you need to know this and you need to know this, because there is so much to understand and know, but it's also very simple. The simple part of it is just sort the nutritional needs out of the human body, the female body. That's a really good starting block. And I also start with all the other supportive stuff like the self-care. Anyway, I need to leave some time for questions. I'm going to stop my sharing and I'm going to open that back up, and then everybody else can come on and tell me or say anything. I can't read questions as well as everything else. I'm trying to do a view here to get gallery done. Okay, so please fire away if anybody's got any questions for me or anybody else on the call, because there's lots of health professionals on this call. The beautiful thing about Zanzino is how many health professionals are around. Anyone got anything to say? I can't read the questions because that's multitasking. It's not going to happen.
I'm just going through the questions bit. I'm trying to see if there's some people sharing about results in autistic kids. Of course, that's another call we had also recently. Yeah. We have a recording on that one also with Emily talking about children.
Yeah.
And have you an experience with Viva in women?
With Viva, yes, especially with the anxiety. So Viva, I never use it as I personally, it's not been an everyday thing, not for me, as in for when in my practice. What I find with Viva is when women get like an anxious overwhelm, taking say 4 capsules is great. Someone who's always anxious, 2 tablets in the morning, 2 tablets in the evening. But yes, Viva is fantastic for that side. PMDD, brilliant for PMDD, because it does have that calming effect and it is working on the mind. And it's that back to that magnesium again. There's magnesium with the saffron. So, and I love our vitamin D because there's magnesium with it. You know, our vitamin D is great. You may have to find a vitamin D drops, just because sometimes if it's about fertility, you might need a little bit more, back to the individual. But we have really good base products, and sometimes they're enough.
Great. There's no more questions in the chat. So do any of you on this call, do you want to ask something? Do you want to still put it in the chat so I can read it to Jackie? Do you think there's a specific place for Xenogene in women's health concerns?
So personally, as an old woman of 53 nearly. So I believe as we get older, we need it because of, unless you're going to get those nutrients in your diet, I believe we need it maybe earlier, bearing in mind how ill we're getting and how we're not getting the nutrients from our food. Yes, there is a place for xenogene, and I would absolutely, if somebody comes menopausal or perimenopausal, for me, it's full health protocol plus xenogene, and then I play around with it. But I always recommend xenogene because of the getting rid of the senescent cells, which are zombie cells, the cells that wander around the body and don't disappear because our poor old bodies are too old to do it themselves. And then also, the anti-inflammatory aspect of that, because inflammation drives 14 of the menopausal symptoms. I don't really play around with that so much earlier on in a woman's life, unless maybe they're doing a detox, possibly if for fertility, if you want to do a detox, you could use it and then take it daily. But it's not my go-to with those, but it is with perimenopause and menopause, definitely.
Great. There's also a question, which phytoestrogen would you recommend?
Phytoestrogen as in food-wise, because you've got things like sweet potatoes, or are you talking about a supplement? Because I'm unable to recommend a specific phytoestrogen supplement. If Marta's on here and can quickly pop in, but do you want food supplement or, sorry, food phytoestrogen or supplement phytoestrogen? I can see Marta's there. Type something, Marta. We need
so food-wise, that's soy, flax, edamame beans, those type of foods. It just depends what they need to achieve, what they want to achieve.
This is so individual, isn't it? It's really difficult. Other than going on one-to-one calls, it's very difficult to help people because, we don't know the specific needs.
But soy and flax are the main ones.
I have flaxseed oil every day because my body's stupid and it doesn't absorb oil properly. So I have to help it along with flaxseed oil. Yay. Yay for me. So everybody, you can get flaxseed oil and then you don't have to eat flax seeds if you don't want to.
There's one more. I recently had a blood test and my anti-Müllerian hormone was on the low side. I do have PCOS and I'm insulin resistant and I have cysts. What are your recommendations in improving this to prepare the body for pregnancy? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to pull on Marta in 1 second because she's going to do the add-ons. I'm going to say, I would personally say the full health protocol, definitely the biotic, and you need some inositol. But I would also say, because of how much you've got going on, you would want to speak to somebody like Marta. You would want a conversation with somebody who's really going to hold all of that, because your symptoms are quite specific. Marta, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to give advice without knowing the full history and supplements medication this person is on. So yeah, it just depends. Like obviously addressing insulin resistance and is this person healthy weight? What's the inflammation like? Yeah,
it's really tricky to answer those sort of specific questions. But if somebody just wanted a well-rounded package, it would be the health protocol, definitely.
For the egg quality, CoQ10, but just the basics: healthy, good diet, good protein, good fats, low starch, low sugar, no alcohol, those type of things.
Yeah, and highly processed and processed foods, gone.
Yeah.
Bin those out the way.
Great. No more questions in the chat, so I think it's about time to maybe just finish up. We're within the hour still, so well done, Jackie, and thank you so much for sharing, because I do think that this is such a important topic, and it's so important to speak about it, share, and know what to do, know where to find help, and that there is help. And I think the more we normalize the conversations about this, the more people we can help. So, it shouldn't be a thing that we're embarrassed to talk about, or feeling old because we're going into menopause, or feeling that we failed because we can't become pregnant. But I do think that these conversations we need to just have with everyone and be able to help each other with the ways we can act on it. So
yeah, and the one thing I want to say is I go back to, people always keep coming through with individual conditions, and it's like everybody needs to like sort their foundational health out. Everybody. It doesn't matter what condition you've got. So if somebody comes to you with endometriosis, you're going to go, well, you need omega-3, because you do. You know, it's a simple fix, but it's been made so complicated by the doctors and food industry and supplement companies, and it's like, it's not that complicated. We just need the right nutrients.
Absolutely. That's a good way to finish this call. Thank you so much, Jackie. We will have a call the first, so that's, I don't have 3rd of April, first Wednesday in April. I will post it in a group, not prepared, not promoting it like you do, Jackie, but the next call will be, we have a monthly call. The next topic is a surprise still, so I'll share it in the group and people will share, with also the new ones being on the call today. If you have questions, go back to the person who invited you in so you can get more answers.
And see you all on the 11th.
Yes, everyone. Okay, thank you, Jackie. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.